Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how I made a diorama of these beetles from Genshin Impact. There's no shortage of things to collect in Genshin Impact. Drops from enemies, items around the world, even upgrades for weapons are very abundant in the world of Teyvat. In my personal opinion though, the beetles are some of the worst items that you can be forced to collect in this game. They're super rare, in hard places to get to, and all in all are just very annoying. I hated collecting all of them, honestly. Then what better way to celebrate that experience than by making a small diorama of the 3 beetles that are currently available in-game. I start by rolling up some aluminium into a ball, and then after sticking a toothpick in it, I slather it in glue, and then roll it around in some craft sand. This will become the ball that the scarab beetle is rolling around. Setting that aside to dry, I start working on the rest of the base. I take some chunks of XPS foam and start cutting them into vaguely rock-like shapes. Then I cut up some pieces of cardboard and bend them out of shape to make them look like metal. I then dig around in my Warhammer bits box for various tools that I can use, as well as a few pieces of sprues that I'd saved from previous builds. I also dig out some gear charms that I bought a little while ago and glue them together. I then start adding all the various bits to the base, starting with a stick that was left over from a previous project. Once everything was in place and had dried, the model was primed in black. I start by giving the sheets of metal a copper dry brush, followed by giving the sand a couple of coats of dark yellow, and the rocks a purplish grey. The rocks and sand get dry brushes in lighter versions of their respective colours, and I paint in the details on the metal sections. This is then followed up by a black wash on the metal and the rock parts, and a brown wash on the sand. And is then followed up by another round of dry brushing. I make sure to dry brush the little sand ball as well, just so that it's consistent. I go back in with a little bit of silver and add in the small metal details, and then finish up with a couple of splotches of green on the metal parts, with some darker green for the top of the rock. Time to move on to the beetles, of which there are 3. The Onikabuto from Inazuma, the Subdetection Unit from Fontaine, and the Scarab from Sumeru. Each beetle starts off as a bean of clay about the size of the tip of my pinky finger, which then gets cut in half, with details being added depending on which beetle I'm working on. A smaller ball of clay then gets attached to the body, and then I start rolling out some little pieces of clay about the size of a grain of rice. Once baked, these will become the legs. I then roll out some pieces of clay and shape them into the antenna for the beetles. These will also be attached once baked. Once everything was baked, it was then a case of assembling the beetles and painting on the various details. Then I glued the beetles down into their respective places. I added 3 tufts of grass as a finishing touch on the scarab beetle's side. And with that, it's finished. Thank you for watching. Despite how fiddly these beetles may have been to make, making them was nowhere near as annoying as actually finding them. I'm probably going to start doing a bit more sculpting on this channel, just because I think I could use more practice with it. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, have a good one.